Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Overthink It Podcast. My name is Brett James, and I'm joined by my co-host, Darian Harris. Week one of the NFL season is officially over. We've got real NFL football games being played, man. I am so excited for this season. And, I think week one was kind of a shaky performance. It felt like not just for our Jaguars, but really for a lot of teams out there that we kind of had high expectations for. You saw the Bengals kind of struggle. You saw the Steelers struggle. You saw a couple other good contenders like the Chiefs even struggle on opening night as well, too. So things kind of got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but I know me and you are just extremely grateful to be having football back, man. Darian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Brett. I'm doing good. Beautiful week of football. NFL Sunday, man. Nothing like it, dog. I just told you a short story about how I did not plan on going to watch this game outside of my house, but I said, fuck it. I went to my friend's house. Well, not friend's house. I went to my friend invited me to B-Dubs in Orange Park. I was out there, man, having a blast. It was fun as hell, man, to watch all those games on TV, but most importantly, to watch our Jaguars. And yes, man, a lot of teams came out very sloppy. It is week one. What do you expect? However, the best thing about it is you just want to leave week one with a W, and that's what the Jaguars did, man. So not too many teams in this league can say that right now. So the Jaguars sit at 1-0. They're like tied with, I think, the Browns, Ravens, and and whoever else finished 1-0 this
Right.
weekend, and like tied for first. But they got the division lead, of course. They have games above the Bills, Chiefs, Chargers. Really important playoff teams. So, man, it was just amazing to see. Beautiful football, and I'm glad our Jags are 1-0 entering week two, which was big.
Yeah, the Jags aren't just 1-0. I mean, the last time the Jaguars won in Indianapolis was back in 2017, which was the last time the Jaguars made the AFC Championship game. So I wonder if there's a coincidence there.
Mm,
And
mm.
the Jaguars aren't just 1-0, Darian. They're the number one seed in the AFC as we currently speak.
Yes,
On September
sir.
12th, 2023, the AFC goes Jacksonville, Cleveland, New York, the Jets, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Miami Dolphins are all in the playoff hunt as of right now, 1 week into the season.
The
But,
early,
but the early
early
hunt,
playoff win.
the very early playoff hunt, but nonetheless, the Jaguars are the number one team in the AFC
Yeah,
as
it's
we
also
speak,
it's
as of
also a
right now.
crazy stat. The Jaguars are like 6-0 in the AFC in the AFC South games in the last six matchups, something like that, or maybe 4-0. I'm not sure. And I
Yeah,
think
something like that. I can't
something
recall the
like
last time
yeah,
we lost. It must
yeah,
have
it's
been
been a
I was at the Colts last year. I think it was the last one that we lost,
yeah,
which was in week
and
6.
yeah. So we are like on a 4-game winning streak in the AFC South. I think something about like the Jaguars, their regular season record, they're like in their last like 10 matchups, they're like 8-2 or something like that. Trevor's thrown like 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, something crazy like that, man. The Jaguars have definitely been a dominant force in the AFC South since I would say like November of
Week
last year.
9.
So man,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
man. So the Jaguars are definitely looking like the tide is shifting for the AFC South, and there's a new king, and it resides in Duval County, man. So
Yeah, the
yeah,
prince that was promised, man.
yes,
Jacksonville
sir,
Jesus, bro.
man.
He's
Yes,
something
sir.
special to witness, man. And kind of briefly, before we jump into week one, though, if you guys stuck around for the podcast last week, we started our first, pick 'em where me and Darian are going to go through a season-long pick 'em on a week-by-week basis. And at the end of the season, we're going to see who's got the better record, and the loser has to pay out $50 to the other one. So kind of recapping last week's week one pick 'em, I finished with a record of 9-7. Darian finished 8-8. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of briefly go ahead and talk about all of the week one performances, because as of today, it's Tuesday, September 12th, which means that Monday Night Football just finished up for the Jets and the Bills last night. That was a really interesting game, something that we'll talk about a little bit later on in the pod. But let's kind of go back and talk about week one and some of the performances. We're going to start in order and work our way all the way up to Monday Night Football. So let's, Darian, first talk about the season opener, Detroit at Kansas City. Tell me your thoughts about that matchup and what you witnessed.
Uh, I saw a lot of discourse on the timeline on Twitter, on TikTok, and I felt it was a bit distasteful to the Lions. I felt like a lot of people tried to, put an asterisk next to this win for them just because the
People were
Chiefs.
discrediting the Lions? That's not what I saw.
Yeah, I saw a lot
Damn.
of that. Oh, we're just gonna put an asterisk next to this game, right? The Chiefs were missing Travis Kelce, of course, Chris Jones, and they only lost this game by one. While also looking at their receivers drop a plethora of footballs, right? The defense play lights out. the Lions offense was only able to put together 14 offensive points, right? So if it wasn't for the Kadarius Toney drops and blase would won this game. Well, if you look at the tape, man, Patrick Mahomes definitely missed some wide open throws as well, right? So is nothing to worry about as a Chiefs fan, I would say. I mean, it's only week one. You know how this team can respond in weeks to come. You get Chris Jones back this week. Hopefully you get Travis Kelce back, you know, in your favor as well. And you would hope as well your receivers have better hands. You know what I'm saying? This receiving core is definitely a sore eye, in my opinion. I don't think this receiving core is good at all. We talked about it before the season even kicked off. I said they were young and inexperienced, and we saw that this past Thursday. So, you know, even with Patrick Mahomes' greatness and the play call and Andy Reid, man, I don't know if it's going to be able to suffice and fix this offense as a complete unit and be able to compete for a championship this year. That's why I had them being knocked out before the AFC Championship. But for the Lions, man, big time win for them. They got the job done. I like what I saw from the defensively, man. The secondary, man. Forgot the guys, and I think his name's like Aaron Glenn or something like that. The DC for the Lions, he played. He called a magnificent game, man. The secondary is definitely a lot better than last year. And I was like what I saw from them. They definitely disrupted and made life uncomfortable for Patrick Mahomes this past Thursday. So all in all, man, big time win. Lions fans, they feel like they should have won by more, and Chiefs fans feel as if they should have won this game by more than 1 point as well. So, you know, it is what it is. We move on to week 2 for both teams, man. But I think both teams should feel okay moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think both teams should feel okay moving forward, and especially because we got the news this past weekend. Chris Jones is re-signed on a 1-year deal with a lot of incentive-based in his contract. So obviously they're getting one of the best interior defensive linemen and one of the best defensive players in the game of football back onto this roster. And we obviously know how talented Chris Jones is and how much of a difference he makes for that Kansas City defense. But I think regardless if Chris Jones is there or not, or Travis Kelce is there or not, yeah, that's something that, you know, the Lions can't control. It's an unfortunate incident if you're a Chiefs fan. And the Lions went out there and they took care of business on the road in a hostile environment, regardless if those two guys were there or not, too, man. So you got to give a lot of credit, I feel like, to the Detroit Lions. I picked them to win that game. Wasn't sure if Travis Kelce was obviously going to be able to be full go, especially with that knee injury, man. But you got to give a big shout out to Patrick Mahomes, to Jared Goff and that Lions team for going on the road and getting that win, man. Dan Campbell, I think, is just a phenomenal guy. I think he's just one of the most likable coaches in the game of football. Definitely happy for them, happy for Lions fans. And you really feel like, okay, even if this is just kind of a blimp in the map in the grand scheme of things with this season, with like getting a big time win as the Lions, they've still got a long season ahead of them, I feel like, to really still continue to go out there and try to compete and continue to prove like, hey, this team is actually legit. Like, we're not the Lions of the past. I want to see them continue to stack in these wins and being a lot more consistent. But I do just want to say one last thing about the Lions too before I kind of move on. Aiden Hutchinson has less sacks than Trayvon Walker as we record this video right now. So I just want to throw that out there. The number one overall pick has more sacks than the number 2 overall pick as we currently record this.
Yeah, that was a weird discourse too, man. I think both those guys played well this past week one, man. They both made their presence felt. Yeah, he played a really good game. So did Trayvon Walker, man. I'm not sure why Jags fans are still butthurt about that. I mean, Trayvon fits our mold, and I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson want to be able to fit our mold. So,
and I'm sorry, man. Trayvon Walker is an elite run stopping edge. He is so physical, so athletic. He knows how to set the edge properly, stays in his lanes, and he's got the speed and athleticism to still get around the players. But
yeah, I don't know how real quick. I don't know how PFF grades their. My bad, I may cut you off. I don't know how PFF grades their edge rushers, but they gave Trayvon Walker a terrible score this weekend. So
yeah, I saw. I went and did my PFF studies yesterday.
Yeah, I was like, that's interesting. But continue. My bad.
No, you good. But I just wanted to throw that out there about the Lions and the Chiefs game. Let's get into the next matchup. Like I said, we're going to go in order. So now going into Sunday afternoon, we had the Carolina Panthers, the number 1 overall pick, and Bryce Young at Atlanta. Atlanta won that game 24-10. You actually had Atlanta winning that game. I had Bryce Young going on the road in his first game. Just briefly, talk to me about that and what you kind of take away from that performance.
The run game is what I expected out of Atlanta. They have a 2-3 running back tandem. Surprisingly, Tyler Algier was the RB1. He had the bulk of the carries. Bijan got busy as well. He had his first career touchdown, which was big. The offense a little bit wacky at times. Drake London didn't get much touches at all, in my opinion. And I think Kyle Pitts might have got like the game-winning catch or something like that, or a game-sealing catch or something like that. I don't know. But, they don't – Arthur Smith is a very interesting head coach, and not in a good way interesting, man. I just can't explain it, man. He's just good enough to not get fired, but he doesn't know how to utilize his weapons, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
anyways, for the Carolina Panthers, I think Frank Wright has to do a better job of making life easier for Bryce Young. I felt as if the Panthers were throwing the ball around a little too much. I saw Bryce Young making some big-time throws, but also I think he threw like 2 crucial picks. It's a rookie, though, is what they expect. But overall, man, I think the Falcons got a solid win, a much-needed win. And, Brian Burns had a hell of a game, too, even though he was seeking a new contract. So, yeah, that's my simple opinion
Yeah,
on that.
I mean, honestly, Atlanta should have been favored to win this game as they were heading into the matchup as well too. And like you said, Arthur Smith is for sure an interesting head coach. Probably not in the right ways though. But you go ahead and you take advantage of a rookie quarterback in his first game. He had 2 interceptions in that game. Nothing much you could really ask for with that offense around him. I think once he gets DJ Chark back, who is a much more reliable wide receiver coming off of his hamstring injury, I think that'll make life a little bit easier for
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Young and this offense as well too. But Atlanta, they need to do a better job, like you said, getting their skill position guys involved. Like you said, Bijan Robinson didn't really feel like that workhorse that we thought we were going to saw, like getting 25, 30 carries right out the gates and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
storming through. But overall, not a bad performance whatsoever. I mean, it is just Atlanta and the Carolina Panthers. I don't think we expected much from these teams, but let's kind of move into the next matchup, one that definitely surprised a lot of people, even though me and you both picked Cleveland to win this game. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns, and the Dog Pound won that game, man, 24-3. I think a lot of people were in the discourse talking about Joe Burrow after that game, but I'll give my thoughts about Joe Burrow really quickly afterwards. But Darren, I want you to go ahead and talk to me first, though, man.
Shout out to the Browns and the defense, man. They came in and did what I expected. However, the weather played a huge part in this game, and the weather was absolutely terrible, man. And I think that's the main reason why the Bengals weren't able to really execute anything offensively. They're a finesse team. They're not a ground and pound team anymore with Joe Mixon in that backfield. And I think for them to, get back to where they want to be, I think they have to not improvise, but emphasize on that. But I don't know because the 5-out wide receiver attack is so potent, it works. So, but in games like we saw this past Sunday, they need a run game, and if they don't have a run game, man, I don't see them winning games like that quite much in the future either. But we're probably not going to see bad weather like that up north come around this fall and winter season, anyways. But like I said, big time win for the Browns. They did like I thought they would, and Joe Burrow definitely played bad, but Deshaun Watson didn't play that good either. He just did enough to win, and one team had a run game, the other didn't. So. Shout out to the Nick Chubb and the Browns and their defense, and Joe Burrow. I think he bounces back next week against this Ravens team. I think they play the Ravens next.
Yeah,
So,
but we got Baltimore at Cincinnati week 2.
yeah, I wouldn't really entertain the discourse. It wasn't a good game by Joe whatsoever, but overall, man, it was bad weather and they can't run the football. So what can you really expect?
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple things going against Joe Burrow. Not only was he coming off that calf injury, and to me, he looked timid. He didn't look the same because on my TV in my living room when I was watching Sunday afternoon, I had the Jags Colts game on one big TV. I had the Browns and Bengals game on another TV, and then on another TV, I had Red Zone. So I had 3 TVs pulled up. So I'm watching closely that Cincinnati and Bengals game, that Cincinnati and Cleveland game, thinking, all right, this is going to be a really good game. Definitely did not live up to the hype, but like you said, you had Joe Burrow coming off of a calf injury. Everyone's really scared about that injury. Didn't have time to really mesh these last couple of weeks. You've got him playing in week 1. He just, for some reason, does not like to play in week 1 and play well up to his standards. And then also, like you said, the weather was a huge factor in that game. Joe Burrow didn't look good. Deshaun Watson didn't look good. You had Nick Chubb running all over the field. He had a 100-yard game. Just overall, just what a gritty game it was by that defense. And I think I said it before we actually began the season. Maybe it was last podcast or the previous one, but to me, I think Cleveland's defense is the best defense in the game of football. I think they're right up there with the Jets, right up there with the Cowboys and some other defenses like the Niners as well too. To me, Cleveland's defense was just swarming all over Joe Burrow and that offensive line. So great win for the Dog Pound. I mean, Cincinnati definitely has to bounce back. I think I predicted also Cincinnati to start the year off 0-2, regardless if they had Joe Burrow or not, because it just feels like you're rushing him back out there too quick, man. I don't care what the training staff says. The severity of that injury could be significant, and look at what we just saw from Aaron Rodgers. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later on because we will. But just what a performance that really was by Cleveland's defense. Let's get into another matchup. Me and you've kind of already talked about this, but our Jaguars at Indianapolis go on the road, get their first win in Indianapolis since 2017. Trevor Lawrence gets the first week 1 victory of his career. And the Jaguars also are number one in the AFC, like we mentioned earlier. The Jags win that game 31-21. Darian, talk to me about that performance.
Well, you know what they say. They say good teams win, but great teams cover. Jags were down by 3 heading into the fourth quarter. They were
Down by
favored to win this
4.
game by 4. They were down by 4 heading to the fourth quarter. They were favored to win this game by 5 points, and they won this game by 10. So, with that being said, the Jaguars offense came out a little bit stagnant. Second drive, they put together a very good score. Defense gave up a score. They went back down and scored again. Beautiful touchdown pass to Zay Jones on the back of the end zone by Trevor. 14-7. Seemed as if they were going to pull away, but some miscues, fumbles, interceptions, just some bad mistiming on a certain plays. This is what you expect out of week 1, right? I think Ting Bisbee definitely was a cause for a few of those turnovers, most notably, really both of them. The pick that he dropped, he dropped a wide open pass that was a little bit high, but he still could have came down with that. And also having the low awareness he did on that fumble that was returned to the touchdown for DeForest Buckner. That just had this Colts team fake believing, right? Because they had no chance of winning this game, given the fact that Anthony Richardson, when he had to do it, he cannot throw the football. And I kept stressing. I was like, man, just make the dude throw. They're making it way too easy for him. And then the second half, that's what they did, man. They made him throw. They put him in some tough situations. He had to read defenses. They were trying to work the right side of the field, but once they had that right side bottled up, he had to move to his more towards his left side, and he was baited into throwing interceptions. That's what he did. So, overall, fantastic performance by the defense in the second half. The offense was a little bit shaky, man, but they still closed it out with a big-time Travis Etienne run. I just honestly believe, I told my friends this, man. I'll be honest. Even though I don't want to admit this, but I really believe the Jaguars are looking past the Colts and looking forward to week 2. I really do. I think the Jaguars are going to play their best football week 2. It's early, but I really do believe the Jaguars are overlooking this Colts team, and they still win by 10. So,
and that speaks volumes, man. Like you said, great teams find a way to cover. The Jaguars did cover the spread, and the Jaguars really went into this matchup, I felt like, feeling very confident. Doug Peterson alluded to it earlier in the week about how quiet and confident the team was. Nobody was getting way too riled up, and everyone just had this sense of calmness around the locker room. They're like, all right, you know what? We know what we're capable of. We know how good this team can be. So let's go out there and let's prove it with all the hard work that we put out this training camp and all off season. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence had a solid first game. Really, despite the 2 turnovers that really, like you said, didn't feel like his fault. The fumble on the blind side where, he had the ball not really quite in a forward motion yet, which was clearly a fumble. And then Tank Bigsby makes, rookie mistake. Tank Bigsby early in the game, interception goes right through his hands, like you said. Could have been a little bit lower of a pass, but regardless, hit you in the hands. You got to come down with it. Mm-hmm. But it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. Tank Bigsby finished the game well, pushed the offensive line to the goal line, and then it ended up getting the 1-yard score. Travis Etienne has the 26-yard score to get them into the end zone and put the Jags up by 10. So just overall, despite some miscues, like you said, from week 1 in the rust, and maybe the Jags were potentially overlooking the Colts in a week 1 matchup, the Jags went out there, they handled the business as they should. And I just want to briefly say really quickly, man, I don't think Anthony Richardson week's 1 performance was as bad as many people were making it out to be.
No, it was very solid. It was
very solid, right? Of course, we know there's going to be a lot of rookie struggles, not just with him, but with any rookie. But, he's going to have to learn to develop as a pocket passer. He still did a great job using his legs. And you know what the game plan looked like? It looked like, hey, we have a rookie quarterback who needs to be treated like a rookie quarterback, where we're going to have him, make the simple reads, take the checkdowns, and when it's there, take the shot. He did have a couple nice passes over the middle of the field, a couple to Joshua Downs, a few to Michael Pittman Jr., who really carved up the Jaguars defense in that second half, man. Pittman Jr. did a phenomenal job. But Anthony Richardson, like I said, I felt like for the most part, looked the part and looked exactly what we expected out of him in his first game at just 21 years of age. So I just want to give him a lot of props real quick.
I got one thing to say, man. Yeah, Michael Pittman had, I guess, a big day against us, but there's no way.
97 yards and a touchdown.
And damn near 40 of that came off of the screen pass that was at third and 24 that got housed to the crib. The Jaguars defense is it's so confusing to me. They've been, I call it a bipolar defense, because in the second half, we saw them really shut down this Colts offense, most notably in the fourth quarter. But giving up a screen pass on third and 24, second 24, whatever it was, knowing that their quarterback's arm is very limited, knowing they're either going to go screen, draw play, bubble screen, whatever, bro. It was not going to be anything complex, and they just got beat. So those things like that I want to see cleaned up. Hopefully they will, because we got some big time opponents coming up next. Most will be next week against the Chiefs, or this week against the Chiefs. So, it just Caldwell just really scares me at times, but we'll see how the season goes on.
I mean, I no, I hear you. And last thing I want to say about that real quickly is that, I mean, Mike Caldwell still, no matter how you want to slice it, still allowed the Indianapolis Colts offense only 14 points, and one of them came off of like you said, a screenplay that took it to the house. So like, if you kind of negate that, and I'm not even just trying to be like completely biased, but like a great defensive game plan, and they did as they should. Now we're going to see in week 2 versus the Chiefs, but let's kind of keep flying through really quickly, and let's kind of try to pick up the pace with these week 1 recaps. We got Tampa Bay at Minnesota. Baker Mayfield in his first game as a Buccaneer, huge win, 20-17 at Minnesota. Talk to me real quickly, man.
Yeah, man, big time win. I had the Vikings winning this game, but I told you if they lost this game, man, it's going to be huge trouble. In my predictions, I said this team could finish 9-8, but it wouldn't surprise me if they end up being a very underwhelming team this year. And that started this past Sunday, man. Kirk Cousins got lit up all around the field. Justin Jefferson had a big first half, was extremely quiet in that second half. They had no run game, of course, as we all knew they wouldn't. And Justin Jefferson after the game looked very dissatisfied with how the game ended. So we'll see how that. We'll monitor that for sure as the season goes on. But yeah, man, this Vikings team is going to be. They could start off 0-2 because they have the Eagles coming up Thursday. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will talk about that later. But like you said, man, I mean, first of all, Jay Jettis, man, I mean, top 2 receiver in the game of football, man. I mean,
I think he's the best.
And I wouldn't argue anybody if they said Jay Jettis the best. I personally have always believed, even despite week 1's performance, Tyreek Hill. I mean, these just you can't replicate what he does, though. But conversation for another day, though. Yeah, I mean, if there was going to be a team I felt like that was going to be really on upset alert in week 1, it was either going to be Philadelphia at New England, or it was going to be the Vikings playing Tampa Bay because, yeah, I mean, we'll get into that Philadelphia game in a little bit, but man, that just Minnesota, man, like you guys just keep trying to say Kirk Cousins is just going to take us there, right? And the game didn't really feel like it was on him. It just consistently, it's like, damn, like they're just underwhelming. We know that the Vikings are capable of being good. Danielle Hunter didn't have a bad game, but it just feels like there just needs to be something better. And last thing I'll say too is like just big shout out, man, to Baker Mayfield. As much as I scrutinize him, man, he went out there, he did the damn thing. They got a big week 1 road win, but I still have zero expectations for this Tampa Bay team moving forward.
Well,
go ahead.
We'll talk more about Tampa next week if they pull out another W. But I got to say one thing about Minnesota before we move on. It is very interesting to see that in 1-score games last year, they were like 11-1. Now they are starting out 0-1. So we'll see.
We will see, most certainly. All right, let's get into the other matchup. We got another AFC South team, Tennessee at New Orleans. That one went down to the wire. Ryan Tannehill had an opportunity at the end, but New Orleans eventually ended up pulling away at home. Darian, floor is yours.
It might have been one of the most intriguing games as a neutral fan of football to watch for the 1 p.m. slate, but the quarterback play was awful, man. Derek Carr played pretty suspect, and Ryan Tannehill was atrocious. He was awful, man. I think he'd even eclipse 130 yards passing. He threw like three interceptions. I mean, they have a serious QB problem out there in Tennessee. Defense played lights out. They tried their best, man, but they still got the W. They still got the L, and that's a very telling sign going forward, man, because they have to play the Chargers this Sunday. So, yeah, man, Saints got the job done. I picked them to win. Not really surprised on the win, just surprised on how it happened. But the Titans, man, that quarterback play is atrocious.
Yeah, I know DeAndre Hopkins isn't happy. As a Jags fan, I'm happy because, that's another team in the AFC South that, is falling behind in the standings even after just week 1. Got to give a big shout out for Derek Carr in his first game, regardless of how he played or not, getting that week 1 victory in his first game in a Saints uniform. But man, I just expected a lot more of a Mike Vrabel-led team, regardless of the circumstances, coming into week 1. Like we know what Derrick Henry is. He wasn't that guy week 1. We know what Ryan Tannehill can be as like a glorified game manager. That team just didn't put it together, man. What a horrible performance, really, by the Titans in week 1. I expect better from a Mike Vrabel team, even though I'm not pulling for them. Into the next matchup, this is a team that I knew was going to win this game, but not in this fashion. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. We've talked a lot about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Kenny Pickett, and holy expletive. That game blew me away. Talk to me, Darian.
Yeah, man, I picked the Steelers on to upset this game, to upset the 49ers, and man, they got obliterated. They got the doors beat off of them. At one point, they couldn't get past the 50. I don't think they crossed the 50 to like the third quarter. Kenny Pickett had like 9 passing yards heading into the second quarter. This offense didn't get a first down to like the beginning of the second quarter. It was just awful all around offensive play from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and defensively, I
Mhm.
mean, it feels as if they just couldn't catch a break, man. They would have a sack, and then the 49ers would convert like a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 12, right? Because their secondary is piss poor right now. Like I kind of thought they would coming into the season because Patrick Peterson's old, and Joey Porter
Mhm.
and the young guys didn't get much playing time, man. I don't expect much from this game, though. I would kind of, if I was Mike Tomlin, just throw this game away. You move on to week 2. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
a very embarrassing performance, but you're arguably going up against the Super Bowl champion this year, probably. So, Niners play really well, man. Shout out to them, Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan, you are right all along, dude. This is your guy. He played really. He worked that offense magically. Brandon Ayuk looks like the wide receiver 1 out there in San Fran. The
Clearly.
run game, CMC, is back in full effect. This defense, my goodness, Fred Warner, like Nick Bosa. I mean, this is just a very complete team, man. And I think like I said, they will be representing the NFC in this year's championship. It's early, but that's just how I feel about it. I think they're the best team in football right now, hands down.
Yeah, and I mean, there's every compelling reason to put the 49ers the best team in football. I had picked San Francisco to win this game, not in the fashion in which they did, because I had higher expectations than Kenny Pickett for him coming into this season. And like I said, it's week 1. I'm going to throw it away. This is arguably the best defense in all of football. Them boys was flying around, and Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, the whole team just went out there and they were just giving it to that Pittsburgh defense, man. If you're a Steelers fan, let's not overreact. Let's go ahead and just, like I said, throw this game away, try to move on. But I'm still sticking with the Eagles to come out of the NFC. I'm not going to overreact to week 1, but I do think it will be a Niners-Eagles rematch in the NFC Championship game. What a hell of a game that was if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan. But another matchup that nobody really cared about, just to be frank, Arizona at Washington. Darian, talk to me.
Cardinals play better than I expected, but it's the NFL.
They
What?
did.
Why shouldn't I expect that? Right? They're all professional athletes. It's not like they're playing. It's not like Washington's playing against
The
VCU.
Florida Gators.
Yeah, chill out. But it's not like what I'm saying. They're playing against like FIU or something like that, man. They're playing against a professional team, and they play really well, man. They played good enough to win. I think Josh Dobbs was serviceable. James Conner did some good things as well. For the Commanders, I mean, Sam Howell, played solid as well. I think Terry got banged up a little bit. Jahan
Yeah,
Dotson had a solid game. But overall, I mean, maybe the Commanders had an underwhelming start, but I mean, it's week 1. You expect their offense to be good and going. We'll see as the week goes on, but they still ended the season. I mean, they ended the week 1 1-0, so that's big time for them.
Yeah, for Joshua Dobbs just arriving in Arizona, I got to give him a lot of props. I mean, he's obviously been a journeyman in the NFL. He's been with Jacksonville, Cleveland, Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
Arizona. I'm sure there's some other teams I can't recall off the top of my head. So for him to like really take command of the offense, kind of getting thrusted into that situation, I want to give Joshua Dobbs a lot of credit, man. Sam Howell, we've talked about the Commanders being a sneaky good team this year, and they're getting off to a good start, regardless if it's the Cardinals or not. You start the year off 1-0 in a division that's going to be extremely tight, I feel like, the entire way through. And just big shout out to the Commanders as well, too. I know Terry McLaurin was dealing with turf toe injury a couple of weeks prior, really to the season. So he was kind of limited. Jahan Dotson, I'm expecting a big season from him. Just overall, good performance. If you're a Commanders fan and you want to start the year off 1-0, like I said, let's keep flying through this, though. We got the Texans at Baltimore. CJ Stroud struggled in his first game. And I mean, honestly, Lamar Jackson struggled in that game as well, too. But the Ravens still found a way to pull away 25-9. Maybe they lost the battle, but won the war. Something like that. Something with
like
J.K.
that. Yeah.
Dobbins missing, whatever that quote is.
Oh
With
my
J.K.
God,
Dobbins, man, season-ending injury. Ravens just can't catch a break, man. I'm so sorry. Marcus Peters got banged up as well too.
Marcus Williams. Peters plays for the Raiders.
Marcus Williams. Thank you.
Yeah, Marcus Williams got banged up.
I mean, just
J.K. tore his Achilles. I mean, he was having a very solid day as well. Lamar didn't play his best football, in my opinion. He just went against a very young and non-talented, outside of a few pieces, Texan squad, and that showed up. But I tell you, man, they got a tough game against the Bengals next week. We'll talk about that later. But I don't have much to say about the Ravens, man. Zay Flowers looked amazing. He might be the early favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But outside of that, man, nothing really to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say for my sake, because Lamar Jackson was my Offensive Player of the Year, my pick for Offensive Player of the Year. He got off to an extremely bad start. Lamar, high expectations for you. You're a former unanimous MVP. You got to be better than this, man. And for the Ravens, like I said, it's not about beating the Texans week 1. Sure, is it great to get off to a good start like that? Yeah. you want to remain healthy. Lamar Jackson has not remained healthy these last 2 seasons. Odell Beckham's coming off a significant injury. Marlon Humphrey is still coming back from his injury, so he'll be back in a couple of weeks. Now you got this J.K. Dobbins injury, Marcus Williams. Like you need to stay healthy if you're a Ravens fan, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a Ravens fan, that's what's important moving forward, man. So otherwise, I'm a little disappointed in Lamar Jackson, but I want to see more from him moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay at Chicago, week 1, regardless if Aaron Rodgers is there or not. Apparently, the Packers still own the Bears at Soldier Field. Darian, floor is yours.
I will speak more about the Packers in our preview for games later, but Jordan Love played amazing. He missed some throws, but he still played overall really well. The Bears, my goodness, bro, what an embarrassing performance. They only had 6 points heading into the second and third quarter. Just utterly embarrassing, man. I mean, what can you say? I mean, Justin Fields played okay, but the offense is very conservative. I said it in a post on Sunday, man. Like, I'm looking at the games from what we're seeing from Justin Fields in these last 3 years, and even with this week 1 and what we saw from Anthony Richardson in week 1. I know it's super early, his debut, but what's the difference between these two? What is the true difference? Because they're literally running the same type of offense, really conservative, checking down, you know what I'm saying, looking for the dump offs and not testing the field like that. But I expect that from a rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Why am I still seeing that from year 3, Justin Fields? People said Justin Fields is the top 15 quarterback. I don't believe so, man. I really don't. I don't
Hell
know.
no.
I'm not going to blame this offense on him because Gentry, whatever his name is, he's terrible. Their OC for the Bears, he's awful. But, you know, the
And
defense
Eberflus
is
never should have been the head coach in the first place, too, coming over from Indianapolis. Why are you
yeah.
hiring a defensive-minded head coach to groom a young quarterback?
Yeah, when you had the idea you possibly be the possibility of, you know, drafting a rookie quarterback, why would you surround him from a DC that was average at best in Indianapolis anyways, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's looking very bleak for the Bears right now. I mean, it's still a long season. You still got 16 more games, of course. You know what I'm saying? But my goodness, man, this offense had an embarrassing performance. And yeah, with all these weapons, DJ Moore, the wide receiver one who they traded their first round pick for, only had 2 catches for 25 yards. That's embarrassing, man. So I blame the offense, most notably the coordinator. And then we'll trickle down from there as weeks go on. But it just starts with the OC, man. He's awful. He might get fired here soon because he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's never been a debate in my eyes about Justin Fields being a top 15 quarterback. He's still got to go out there and prove that. The talent is obviously there. The talent screams at you when you watch Justin Fields and the athleticism that he possesses. Such a dynamic playmaker, and he does have the arm talent. Justin Fields absolutely does, but that is on coaching, that's on scheme, and that's getting the right players in the position in the system around him. So they got to do better, man. Big shout out to Jordan Love and his first real NFL start where this is his team, his command of the offense. Even without Christian Watson, who I thought was going to be a huge loss for that team, they still showed up. Romeo Dobbs in that offense. So just big shout out to Jordan Love and that team, man, for going out there and getting a big win on the road, regardless if it's the Chicago Bears or not. That was a much needed win. I feel like Green Bay and Jordan Love's confidence moving forward. Let's get into the next matchup. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos, man. Russell Wilson and company found a way to still lose this game. Talk to me.
Same, new year, same results.
Yeah, same shit, different
Different
year.
coach.
Same, yeah.
Yes. All of that. Different coach, same results, all that and more,
Yep.
man. Defense played well enough to win. Offense,
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson didn't play bad. He played good enough to win as well. It's just the play calling at times was it was just hard to watch, man. They gave the win away. I'm not sure what Sean Payton was thinking to begin this game off with an onside kick, but that was a crazy call in itself. I get it. You want to bring the house down. You want to bring some excitement. You want the energy pumping in the stadium, but you want to get your players riled up. But time and place, and you should know that. But then again, you took a year off football, so maybe you don't. But I have nothing to say about the Broncos, man. They let me down. I had them winning this game, and they still have yet to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They have not beat the Raiders since they've been in Las Vegas. I think they're like 0-6 against the Las Vegas Raiders now. So pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, the only thing I really got to say about this is, one, I did give a lot of credit to Sean Payton for coming out literally right out the gates. First place as, you know what, F it. We don't even need to see the tape on the Raiders special teams. We're going to come out right now. We're going to onside this ball. And it worked out in their favor. It did. In that moment, get Mile High, or I guess Empower Field or whatever it's called now. Get everybody juiced up and amped up too. But I'm sorry, man. I'm just still not a believer. And granted, This Denver Broncos team is still injury depleted as we speak right now. So
They
I'm going to
are.
give it some time. I'm going to give Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and company some time too. Not a believer in this team. I don't have really high expectations for the Raiders either going into this year too, man. So you know what? If the Raiders are going to start off 1-0 in the conference and within their division, good for them. But let's get into another matchup, one that was definitely intriguing if you watch that game too. Philadelphia at New England.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, man, he makes your life hell. I don't care who's your quarterback, bro. He's gonna find a way to make it a close game and to have the opposing quarterbacks overthinking every single play. Jalen Hurts had a very sluggish start. I mean, like I said, they do have a new coordinator than Brian Johnson. Shane Steichen's no longer there, of course, but it came out a bit sluggish. The offense wasn't as strong as it was last year coming out the gates, but defensively they held it down. Man, Mac Jones did light him up through the air. But when it came down to it, they still made key stops. And Jalen Carter, my goodness, man, as a rookie, he had a huge impact on this game, man.
Hope
So
Nakobe Dean gets better too, man. He's a guy
yeah,
inside
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's big because now I don't know who the linebacker is gonna be. But yeah, man, like I said, but with the Jaguars, dog, good teams win, great teams cover. The Eagles are only favored to win this game by 4.5 points. They won by 5, so shit. You know what I'm saying?
They found a way. Yeah, and
Found the way.
man, tell me though, do you agree with Nick Sirianni on Philadelphia's last offensive possession going for it on that 4th and 2? I think they were at like I want to say they were at like New England's 35 or 40. They were somewhere around that. Do you agree? Did you see that? When I was watching the game, I was like, why would you not just pin Mac Jones and that offense back, make them go into a 2-minute drill, make them drive the length of the field? But I also understand the rationale of I trust my offense, I trust my defense that even if we don't convert this, I trust my defense to go out there, but I just feel like you're putting your defense in a predicament that you don't need to be putting them in.
Bo's confidence because you're telling, hey, we're going to get this, and if we don't, they got to score on us, and
Yeah,
they
but
haven't
if
been
we do
able
get
to.
it, then we win the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if he would have got it, it would have been a genius call. If not, I mean, it just shows that he's preaching confidence to his locker room, and he's going to trust his guys no matter what. And a lot of people have their opinions on Nick Sirianni. I think he's a solid head coach, right? I
Very.
just think that he just puts a lot of confidence into his players, man. And at the end of the day, they didn't score. They stopped them. Jalen Carter got a sack that will seal the game up. So, them boys gonna be happy, man. They had a chance to win the game, and they did that. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to say, man, just wow, was not expecting that kind of performance from Mac Jones, especially late in that game.
Oh yeah, man,
I
he
thought
was
he was going to
balling.
kind of crumble under pressure, and he was doing his thing. That's what
Yeah,
Bill O'Brien can do for you, man. He's a great offensive mind,
exactly,
and I think
exactly.
Philadelphia bounces back because New England's obviously got a very good defense.
Yeah.
To me, this was the game of the week. I was just blown away, mesmerized. Just I can't even describe the thoughts and emotions running through my mind watching this game. The Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. I had Miami going on the road and getting a week 1 W. They did 36-34. To me, that's an early contention for the game of the year when we look back at this slate for the entire season. What a hell of a performance that was.
Yeah, man. I mean, I always talk about how I feel as if there's a lot of people that try to not scapegoat, but try to, um, you know,
Minimize with
make up
Tua.
all these, make all these excuses for Justin Herbert, right? Because they
Oh,
say,
Herbert. I thought you were
oh,
talking about Tua. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get on to in a second though. But I kind of understood that this Sunday, man, because he did enough to win this game, and their defense, the Chargers defense, is still piss poor, man. Still piss poor. I mean, like I understand that Tyreek Hill's an amazing receiver. My goodness, man, this dude was running butt naked, wide open out there majority of the game. Brandon Staley, what are you calling up? Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, you got stuffed by bench tackles, right? Andrew Jackson, who's one of the worst tackles in the NFL, had Nick Bosa stonewalled, man. Teron Armstead was not out there, so Khalil Mack could do nothing on the opposite side either. I mean, it's just the Chargers defense is terrible, man. It's terrible. Like your offense puts up 34 points and you still lose. That's crazy to me. So, but flipping it to flipping it to the Dolphins, magnificent performance by Tua. Man, he had a masterclass. Him and Tyreek Hill. I made a post about it. I said this is the best quarterback and wide receiver duo in the NFL right now, man. I don't care what anybody says because they are a potent, they are a well-oiled machine, and Mike McDaniel can scheme up some really good stuff, man. Jalen Waddle is a featured guy in his offense. He still almost gave you 100 yards receiving. I mean, they just made big-time play after big-time play. The run game is still a bit non-existent, but if you're throwing the ball around like that, man, I mean, shit, like why not? Why not keep going? So, yeah, man, big-time win for the Dolphins. Vic Fangio's debut as a DC for the Dolphins was definitely underwhelming. He was sleeping at the wheel. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. But they got the
Came through when it
W.
mattered the most, though. Came through on that
Came through,
last
yeah.
possession
That
when it mattered
last
the most.
drive, I mean, Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins just dominated that entire drive, man. They just dominated.
Mhm.
So, overall, man, I mean, big time win for the Dolphins. They moved forward, but that was a big, big performance by Tua. I think he shut a lot of his doubters up instantly with that game.
I mean, the thing is, I feel like most people, I don't see the Tua hate personally, right? I mean, I feel like when Tua's on the field and he's healthy, Tua clearly has proven himself as a very good quarterback. Like, not just this past weekend, like in general, we've seen this from Tua Tagovailoa and what he's capable of doing. I mean, this past weekend versus the Chargers, I mean, 466 yards in the air. Tyreek Hill, 215 yards receiving. Like I said, I believe Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in football. I'm not going to argue if someone says Jay Jettis or Devontae Adams. Wouldn't argue with you on that. But I mean, just I don't think I can even put into words watching Tyreek Hill, what he's done from his time in Kansas City to now, and really just saying, oh my God, this guy is incredible. He does things that nobody else can do. He can make a 5-yard pass, go 80 yards to the house in the blink of an eye. A lot of those throws that Tua had that was off platform, in stride, right to Tyreek Hill, down the sideline, in the middle of the field on 3rd and 10, the one in the end zone, just incredible play by them. Like I said, I could not believe what I was watching. And when it mattered the most, even though Justin Herbert did enough to win this game, still finds a way to come up short. The Dolphins go down. They get that touchdown to Tyreek Hill. They miss the extra point. Justin Herbert has an opportunity to lead a game-winning drive, fails to do so, even though that Dolphins front seven did a phenomenal job. Just what a hell of a game that was. And, man, Justin Herbert's got to find a way to bounce back, especially in a big Week 2 game that we'll talk about here in just a moment. The next couple of matchups to recap from Week 1, we got 3 more left. We got the Rams at Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks, man, they folded in a big-time loss at home. I don't think anybody expected that, and Matthew Stafford did his thing out there with guys like Tutu Atwell and Van Jefferson. The Rams go on the road and win 30-13.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it in the offseason, man. I said it would be a damn shame if the Seahawks just come back down to earth after what happened last year, just overcoming so many things and riding out with Geno. Not saying those guys played bad, but the Rams, Sean McVay is a good schemer, man. He's a good head coach, and I think people put that on notice. To go out there with a rookie and Paku, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Nato or something like that. To go out there with a rookie receiver and to dominate like that, man, it just shows you how good of a schemer he is when he gets his players back on track. This team is going to be a force in the future if they stay together. We'll see. They're getting older, though. But, the Seahawks, I mean, they got the Lions this Sunday. We'll talk about that here soon. But not an ideal start for a team that was looking to be a serious contender in the NFC West. Yeah, NFC West this year.
NFC. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I just can't say enough. Really, not necessarily about Seattle. Like I obviously just played horrible in that Week 1 performance, but man, what a performance by Matthew Stafford! Man, he shows that he still has it. And like I said, when you're throwing to guys like Tutu Atwell, who I actually like coming out of the draft a couple of seasons ago, good speedster guy. You got Van Jefferson, former Gator, doing his thing out there too. Like, he's making these guys look like legitimate wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 out there too. Just big shout out to Matthew Stafford, man. He proved that even with, I guess, being devoid of all the necessarily talent around him, he went out there and he had a hell of a game on the road at Seattle in a hostile environment. Threw for over 300 yards. What a game by them. They start the year off 1-0. Another performance we're going to get into on Sunday Night Football, just an absolute obliteration from the Dallas Cowboys. They set a franchise record 40-0 blowout on the New York Giants. That was like I said, a franchise record if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Talk to me about that game, man. That was just insane to watch.
An absolute butt whipping. Nothing to talk about. Dallas came out there and dominated. We all spoke about how this Dallas team was the most talented on paper since their Super Bowl. The last time they won a championship was in 95-96. And I think it's going to be proved dividends this year, man. This team is very good, dog. And I think people are going to notice as weeks go on. Dak Prescott barely had to do anything. This defense, special team, just dominated the Giants. And the Giants, my goodness, man, you have yet to score a point. You're the only team in the NFL Week 1 to not score a point. So hopefully you can find a way to get in the end zone or a field goal on Sunday when you play again. But my goodness, man, you guys got dominated from start to finish. And I think hopefully it wakes up that locker room and lets them know that, hey, we do have a tough schedule this year. We have to bring our A game every single time we suit up.
No, they're going to have to,
And
man.
Daniel Jones played trash, by the way. Terrible.
Oh, yeah, Daniel
Terrible.
Jones was horrible. But, I mean,
Terrible.
Kind of hard too, man. When that offensive line just got destroyed, Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, and that interior of the offensive line was just
Man,
pathetic. They were putrid versus that
pathetic.
Dallas front seven. I mean, Lawrence and Parsons and the rest of them boys were just getting after it. I mean, like I said, Micah Parsons was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year, but my goodness, was he just feasting? I mean, just feasting in that backfield, man. And it felt like everything that could go wrong would go wrong. Daniel Jones throws the ball, Saquon catches it, pops up in the air, taken it back for 6, go out for a field goal attempt. Well, first it was 3rd down, ball gets fumbled, Daniel Jones falls on it. They go out there 4th down, field goal gets blocked, taken to the house for a touchdown. It was just one thing after another. What could go wrong?
When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours.
It does, and man, I know there's people at MetLife. That's 2 nights at MetLife back to back. The energy got sucked out of the stadium, man. That is crazy. Now getting into the last matchup, Buffalo at New York. We obviously had the huge news this morning come out confirming that, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. He's out for the season. The New York Jets still found a way to get a big-time win over a divisional opponent and one of the best teams in the AFC and Josh Allen and company. Talk to me about that game last night.
What a game, man. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, that news is so unfortunate, dog. To have so much hype, so much build up. You see the pregame warm-ups. You see everybody's live in MetLife excited. He has the celebrities out. He goes out there with the American flag on 9/11 to pay homage and show, just, some respect to the city of New York and this country. And, goes out there, first possession offensively, 3rd, 4th play of the game for them. And he just tears his Achilles, bro. Just completely tears it. It pops. It pops like a goddamn belt strap, man. It just popped, bro. So unfortunately, it happened. But the game goes on, and Zach Wilson came in and he played serviceable football in his defense. Man, they are definitely top 3 in this NFL league, man. Because NFL league, wow, in this NFL. Yeah, they just played good, man. Jordan Whitehead had a game of his life. He had 3 interceptions. I think I saw today that he hit his incentive pay with a bonus of $250,000 dollars. Yeah, based off this performance, man. So yeah, it's just shout out to that defense. Quentin Williams, Sauce Gardner played solid. DJ Reed played very well. Like I said, Zach Wilson got the job done. Brees Hall coming off the ACL injury. He had a big-time performance. Garrett Wilson had a crazy touchdown.
Incredible, too.
Man, Garrett's crazy touchdown grab over Tre'Davious White. Alan Lazard picked up some big-time gains in the 4th quarter. And then the undrafted rookie, I think he went to Stephen A. Austin school or something like that, bro. Some school in Texas he went to.
Like Austin, PA?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Jets punt returner. Let's see.
I forget. I don't know where he went to school at.
But undrafted rookie. He what's his name, man? Wow, I can't find his name. Jesus Christ. Xavier Gibson. Okay, I'll look him up. But yeah, man, Xavier Gibson, undrafted free agent, rookie, came on the scene. Yeah, Stephen F. Austin. I got it right. Wow. Stephen F. Austin. I think he was like the all-time leader in punt returning yards and touchdowns in school. Made a big time play to seal the game, walk-off touchdown in overtime.
Hey, respectfully, though, he ain't no Agnew.
Yeah, he's no Agnew. But with a play like that, man, it's definitely going to get some notoriety. He will not be kicked to that much, probably. But nah, for the Buffalo Bills, real quick, man, Josh Allen, you play like trash. That is back-to-back performances where you've seen you on live TV play ass. Against the Bengals, you played ass. Against this Jets defense, you played ass. I know this Jets defense is definitely one of the best in the league, but my goodness, bro, like you're just throwing laughable balls at this point, man. You don't really have a care in the world for your body. You're trying to hurdle everybody and stuff like that. Ken Dorsey's play calling is atrocious. I don't know what to say anymore about this Bills team offensively, man. They just gotta just weather the storm and get through the season, man, and answer questions after this year, man. They need to make some big time moves, and I'm saying that even though week 1, it just looks bad.
It does. Let me start off by talking about the Buffalo Bills. They start the year off 0-1. You can't lose to Zach Wilson in a primetime game at home on Monday Night Football in the first game of the season. It's 2023. Zach Wilson did enough, especially late in the game, to keep them afloat, to get that touchdown to Garrett Wilson, and to make the necessary plays when it was there. But you could clearly tell from the game plan calling that they were really out there protecting Zach
Wilson.
Yeah. But you could just tell that the New York Jets were out there just trying to protect Zach Wilson. They were just trying to let him make the plays when it was there necessarily, rely on that run game, rely on Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and just, wow, what a performance it was for the Jets, though, to go out there despite Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles on the fourth play, didn't even get a yard thrown in his Jets career, which was pretty incredible. Just extremely, I wouldn't say it was necessarily surprising because I thought Rodgers was going to get banged up at some point this season with a porous offensive line, and he's 38, 39 years of age. Like, I figured he'd get banged up at some point this season, but I didn't think it'd be week one. And I definitely didn't think it would be a season-ending injury. I just thought it'd be something minor at some point in the season. But, man, Josh Allen, I've said it once and I'm going to say it yet again, and I'm not referring to Jaguars Josh Allen. I'm referring to the Josh Allen in Buffalo. He's hit his ceiling. I've been saying this. As great of a talent as he is, and he's still a great talent and a great quarterback when he's not, leading the NFL in turnovers since coming into the league. But I don't think he's got much more room for improvement if he does. I believe his talent has hit. He's hit his ceiling, and this is the quarterback that you're going to get. You're going to get this gunslinger. You're going to get this guy that's overly cocky, is willing to take those risks, is willing to put his body on the line, and rightfully so. You don't want to take that level of aggression out of him, but that's the kind of quarterback you're going to get if it's Josh Allen, and you're going to have to live and ride or die with him too, because that's just the kind of quarterback you're going to get. But big win for the Jets, man. Before we kind of move on to the pick'em and get into the week one, let me ask you right here, right now, Darian. Aaron Rodgers is now officially out for the season. Is the Jets' Super Bowl aspirations, and is their season over? Yes or no?
The season's definitely over as a Super Bowl, contender. As
Can
the
they still make the
playoffs,
playoffs?
I think they can. I was actually commented on Joel Moran. I shout out to the Pick Us Out podcast. I commented on one of his posts. He was basically saying that how this season is basically a flush, is washed. They're going to start gearing up for, mock quarterbacks, and that's understandable, right? Because Zach Wilson is terrible. However, his team was 5-2 last year before Breece Hall went out, and Zach Wilson was a quarterback. Now he did get benched, but he doesn't have the weapons that he does around him, in my opinion, this year. And I think his defense might be even better than last year's defense. I think Zach Wilson can weather the storm. I think he can do enough. And they're going to try to put the ball in other people's hands outside of Zach Wilson to win them the game, man. They're going to rely on Breece. They're going to rely on Dalvin. They're going to implement Mecole Hardman into the game on some jet sweeps and stuff like that. They're going to try everything in his power to make life really simple for Zach Wilson. Hell, Nathaniel Hackett had Blake Bortles lead his offense to a AFC championship. I think Zach Wilson and Blake Bortles might be in the same par of a quarterback. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Like, honestly, talent-wise.
Disrespectful to Blake.
I mean, talent-wise, maybe you lean more towards really about the same, honestly. It's about the same. I think Blake just had
production. Production's a whole different story, though. Blake has produced.
For sure.
But in high leverage moments, he's produced.
For sure. But talent-wise, it's the same. And if you're just going off of course, like IQ, I think Blake Bortles' IQ was a bit better. But like if he could just coach him up the way he did Blake, man, with this defense, they'll be fine, man. They can make this happen, bro. So I think they finished around 9-8. My next question I'm gonna ask you though before we continue. But I think this Jets team is gonna be fine, man. They're not a Super Bowl team, but I think they can be a thorn in everybody's side this year. Go ahead.
Before you ask me my question, answering the question, the Jets Super Bowl aspirations, it's over. Even with a great defense and having a game manager, your quarterback's gonna get shown at some point. You can't hide your quarterback forever. I don't think anybody believes in Zach Wilson. I don't think this locker room, deep down in their hearts, believes in Zach Wilson. Now, he might be improved because he's going to have, the mentorship of Nathaniel Hackett, who, like we said, has taken Blake Bortles and Jaguars and company to the AFC Championship game. Obviously, he's going to have everything he's learned from Aaron Rodgers, and he's still going to have that, knowledge in the back of his head and everything he's learned. So I will give Zach Wilson a lot of credit in that regards. But I think, like I said, when you get down to the nitty-gritty and the deep down of it, I don't think the New York Jets fan base or this team in that locker room genuinely believes that they have Super Bowl aspirations anymore too. They still might go to the playoffs, and even then, in a loaded AFC, that's not a foregone conclusion, but we'll see though. I still think that they'll be hovering around 500 all year now moving forward. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that. Like I said, I think they finished 9-8 when it's all said and done now. I was going to ask you though, with Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles, what do you think his future is like? Do you think he ends up rehabbing, coming back, or given the fact that he did a football retirement this past offseason, will he just say, F it, man, this is my sign. I'm hanging up the cleats. This is it for me.
I think, because this is such a hard thing to answer because you're just speculating, I think Aaron Rodgers is such a competitor, such a dog, that even though he hasn't shown up in the high leverage moments really outside of the Super Bowl in recent memory in the postseason. He's been very underwhelming these last couple of seasons when the Packers have had Super Bowl aspirations, and he's came up short. I think this was his opportunity to make amends for that, really elevate himself as not only just one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, which we all know he is, but to get that second Super Bowl ring and bring one to New York, or at least be in contention for a Super Bowl, is something that he longed for. And that kind of opportunity with this defense and the talent that was around him, and it was on full display Monday night. I do think ultimately at his age, coming off such a serious injury, not even a hamstring, not even just an ACL, this is an Achilles. This is a career-ending type of injury at his age. The rehab process, from everything I've heard and everything I've researched personally, is just brutal. I think this is ultimately the sign. I don't think this is going to be something where he's going to come out in the next month or two. This is probably going to be an offseason talk, and it might be internal talks that he may have within the organization. Like, hey, I'm leaning more towards retirement at this point in my life. And, I wish things were different, and I wish I could have experienced what this would have been like, rallying, having all the Jets fans around me and playing in New York City or East Rutherford. But regardless, I think this ultimately was the last of Aaron Rodgers, which is hard for me to say, but, only time's going to tell.
Yeah, I'm willing to bank on he gives you one more shot. I think he does, man. I think he puts on this rehab. He stays motivated. He sees it with this good culture around him. The Jets fandom loves him. The people in the locker room love him. The staff loves him. The organization loves him. I think he gives it one more shot, man. I think he's going to rehab this season. He should be throwing by springtime. He should be practicing by fall. I think he's going to be back week 1 next year. I really do. But we can move on.
I hope so. I hope so for his sake, man. And like I said, just for the sake of football, man. We grew up, me and you, watching, idolizing,
He ain't going out
respecting
like
him,
this, man. He ain't going out like this, in my
But
opinion.
I mean, I don't. If this was a couple seasons ago, I'd say different story. Even though he'd been contemplating retirement a little bit younger, but I mean, 39 pushing 40. I mean, it's going to be hard for himself to justify that. But let's get into the week 2 matchups. We're not actually going to sit here and really talk about these games. Me and you, just to kind of wrap up this pod. Yeah, we're just going to get to the pick 'em, make our picks, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up, man. So let's get into week 2. We got Thursday night football, the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles, rematch of last year's primetime matchup. Darian, who do you got winning this game?
Give me the Eagles. I think the Vikings have
Okay.
a solid showing in comparison to last year, but give me Philly, man. They just have too much offensively. The defense is going to suffocate this Vikings offense.
Yeah, kind of same thing like we saw last year too, man. Minnesota goes into a hostile environment in Philadelphia. I like Philadelphia to have a much better offensive performance than they really showed in their week 1 performance at New England. I like the Eagles to go ahead and also get this win. Now let's go into the Sunday slate. We've got Green Bay at Atlanta. Both of these teams are coming in 1-0 with young quarterbacks. Green Bay and Atlanta. Who do you got winning this game?
Give me Green Bay. I
Okay.
think Jordan Love is going to be able to put enough points up on the board. And can Desmond Ridder match that? I'm not sure right now, given what we saw from week 1. So give me Love and the Packers.
Yeah, and especially the way that we've seen kind of Atlanta's offense not really utilize their skill position guys. I think you're going to see a lot heavier of a load for Bijan Robinson this weekend. But I like Green Bay's defense, and I like Jordan Love and company to go on the road and get this win. Now we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Buffalo Bills. Darian, talk to me about this matchup.
Give me Buffalo, man. They
got?
need this win. They need this win big time. They started out 0-1. It's a nasty loss they had this night ago. Short turnaround, but I think they do get this W against the Raiders, who are coming off a very confident win against the Broncos.
Yeah, so I mean, you are still in agreement 3 games in. I got Buffalo winning this game. They can't go 0-2 in the conference and 0-2 with their overall record, especially with an inferior Vegas team that still has got a lot of talent, but Buffalo desperately needs this win. They know that they're going to be on the ropes if they lose this game. Can't lose this one at home. They're going to get the win. Now we got another great matchup, interdivision matchup, Baltimore at Cincinnati.
Give me Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati comes back with a vengeance in week 2. Joe Burrow has lit up this Ravens defense in like the last few years, and this defense is becoming unhealthy by the week. So give me the Bengals in this game against the Ravens.
I actually like Baltimore to go ahead and start the year off 2-0. Like I said, I mentioned it earlier. I believe I picked Cincinnati to start the year off 0-2, regardless if Joe Burrow was there or not. You're going to see a much better Joe Burrow in week 2. You're going to see a much better T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, all of these guys in company at home. But it's not going to be enough to overcome Lamar Jackson, who's going to have a huge bounce back game in week 2 after a porous performance in week 1, despite it coming in a win. Lamar Jackson's going to play a much better in week 2. I like Baltimore and company to go to Cincinnati, and they're going to start the year off 2-0.
Mhm.
Now we got an underrated matchup, I think, in week 2. We got the Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions.
Who's favored in that game?
You're asking the wrong guy. Let me go look up it while you make your pick, though.
Let me see. Hold on. So you have, Lions coming off a very big time win on Thursday Night Football. You could say it's an
Lions are
emotional win.
5.5-point favorites.
Lions are five and
Five
a
and a
half
half,
point
damn.
favorites. Ooh,
Yeah,
oh,
5.5, damn.
that's. Give
I'm
me.
give me Seattle's spread though on that though, but go ahead.
Oh man, 5.5 points. So that Vegas they're gonna blow these boys out. Oh man, that's tough, bro. The Seahawks did not look good in week 1. The Lions look very good. Give me the upset in Seattle, man. I think Seattle coming off an emotional win is a letdown. A lot of talking was had for the Lions. Not saying the Lions are a bad team, but I do have them finishing second in this division, and this is one of the games they lose. So give me the Seattle Seahawks on the road to get the answer back, and they win week 2.
And see, I think Detroit's going to go ahead and stack this 2-0. They want to prove to everybody, hey, not just to their fans at home at Ford Field, man, hey, this is a different Lions team. Week 1 was not a fluke. Going to beat the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, despite it being no Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. We're going to start the year off 2-0. And Seattle is a very good team. I like Seattle to cover the spread, but I like Detroit to still go ahead and try to win this game. We got Los Angeles Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. Man, I wish both these teams could lose this game,
Give
but
me the Chargers.
unfortunately, someone's going to win.
Give me the Chargers, man. The Titans, Ryan Tannehill's trash, and if the Chargers let Ryan Tannehill put up 28 points this week by himself, if he gets 3 passing touchdowns this week and a rushing touchdown by Derrick Henry, they should be ashamed of themselves, dog. Give me the Chargers in this game. I think they win by double digits.
All right. I like the Chargers to win this game as well, too. They're going to win by single digits, but obviously I can't pull for the Titans, especially at home in the division. And it's not necessarily, even if I pick them, it's not like I'm rooting for them. It's just, I like the Chargers to win this game as well, too, going on the road at Nissan Stadium. Chicago at Tampa Bay.
Ooh, this was a sneaky game. I think I had Chicago winning this game originally in the regular season, in the offseason, but I like Tampa Bay to start out the season 2-0. The Bears' offense is stinky. I don't think this Bears' offense is better than anything the Minnesota Vikings have put out this past week, and they struggled. The Vikings' powerful offense, so there's no way Chicago's gonna be able to, score mightily against this Buccaneers defense. And I think Baker has another big time performance. So give me the Buccaneers at the crib in Tampa to start the season 2-0.
I like Chicago coming down to South Florida, man, and getting that dub.
Central Florida.
Tampa. I mean, USF is in Tampa, right? University of South Florida is in Tampa also.
Yeah, it ain't South
They
Florida.
play at Raymond James. It ain't South Florida, but
Yeah.
Is it Central Florida? Because I mean, it's not really Central Florida either. But whatever.
I mean, it's an hour and 39 minutes out of Orlando, bro. It's Central Florida. I know UCF. You know what I'm saying? But come on, y'all. Tampa is Central Florida.
I mean, hey, USF. I mean, they got University of South Florida right there in Tampa, man. Shout out to Hillsborough County, man. I like Justin Fields and company to bounce back week 2. I think that Justin Fields, when it comes out with the vengeance, improved everybody and all the naysayers. Hey, man, I'm a legit quarterback. Yeah, week 1 was extremely shitty, to put it plain and simple. But, we're going to bounce back and we're going to be a better team. Indianapolis at Houston.
Ooh, give me Indy.
I
think AR gets. I said in my preview, AR gets his first win week 2. So give me week 2, Indy.
See, I like Houston's defense, man. I really like Houston's defense, and I still like the offensive pieces around CJ Stroud. I think they play much better at home. Houston definitely does play a much better brand of football at home for whatever reason at NRG Stadium. I've seen them have some notable wins in recent memory, even when they've not been good at home. I like the Texans to actually win in week 2, though. Kansas City at Jacksonville. I know you will not be at that game. I may be at that game. I may. There's no promises yet. I'll keep you guys posted, but man, our Jags playing the Chiefs, man.
Who knows how I feel on game day, man? I might just go ahead and purchase that ticket Saturday night. But it's gonna be a tough game. I want to take a deep dive into this, but I won't because I know we have a time constraint. But give me the Jags, man. I think they start the season off 2-0. Like I said, I think they were overlooking the Colts. I think they come out week 2 with vengeance on their mind. They think last year was not their best. They lost to this team twice last year, bro. I think they get the job done. Man, I think it's going to feel like that Patriots game back in 2018 where the Jags just stomped the Patriots team out. And I think it happens again on Saturday. Hopefully not the same outcome of a season, but I do believe the Chiefs lose this week, man. They begin the season 0-2, and the Jaguars begin at 2-0.
All right. Just for this game, give me a score prediction.
Oh, shit.
Let me give you mine because I just thought about mine. I like Jacksonville to go out
Man.
there and win this game 34-24.
Ooh,
34-24.
okay.
Jacksonville's going to go out there and win that game.
Give
They're
me
going to put some points up on that board.
okay. Give me 35-27.
35-27 Jacksonville. I say 34-24 Jacksonville. Briefly going over this game, man. Everyone's like, yo, a pissed off Patrick Mahomes coming to Jacksonville, trying to get, a vengeance and not go 0-2 on the season. What about a pissed off Jacksonville team that lost in the divisional round to Patrick Mahomes and company?
Girl.
Jacksonville, you got to teal out at home. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere. This should be a primetime game, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Jacksonville knows what's at stake. They know the expectations and what's going to come with this game, and the hope that they can give this fan base and the rest of the NFL community saying, hey, we are here. Like, we are here with the best of the best. Man, this would be a huge game, man. I think Jacksonville needs this win for their own confidence and for the fan base as a whole. Because even if we lose, let me not even say that. Jacksonville needs to get
We
this
ain't
win.
losing. We winning.
We're not losing this game.
We're doing this pod next week. Will be victory.
Yes,
Tuesday,
victory,
Monday,
Monday.
whenever we pod again, man, we're going 2-0. We're going to beat the Chiefs this year, bro. Their line is terrible, and I like what I saw from our defensive line this past Sunday against a solid Colts offensive line. So yeah, I like us to feast.
Yeah,
give me the Jags.
I don't care if y'all play. Jacksonville's still going to win this game. Let me make.
Might be a little biased, but I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care either.
I don't care either, man.
I don't either. All right, San Francisco at the Los Angeles Rams.
Ooh, man. Sean McVay sucks against the Niners, man. Give me the Niners. He just can't beat San Fran, man. I don't know what it is, but give me Kyle Shanahan. He's going to beat this Sean McVay team, of course, again. So give me the Niners.
Yeah, Tutu Atwell, Van Jefferson, Matthew Stafford, and company. You're not doing much against the San Francisco
Not
defense.
2 weeks in a row.
Not much. Yep, I don't need to say much about that game at all. The New York Giants at the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, this is the must win for the Giants. Must win, must score touchdown, must score points, must just wipe away whatever you did this past Sunday night and fix your demons. Solve them. Answer your prayers, man.
They have a perfect team.
Because goodness gracious, it's a tune-up game for week 3. Give me the Giants, but my goodness, if they struggle in this game or they lose, oh, man. But give me the Giants.
Yeah, I like the Giants to get this win, man. I mean, you have the coach of the year, former coach of the year, and Brian Dable. Daniel Jones in the offense looked absolutely horrific in that first game. And granted, that is one of the best defenses in the Dallas Cowboys. You got to play a lot better. Give me the Giants to go on the road and get this win as well, too. So we're on the same page there. Now, what we thought was going to be an interesting matchup, but maybe won't be as much of an interesting matchup. The New York Jets at the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World. Who gets this win, man?
Give me the Cowboys, man. The Jets defense is going to do their best impression of what transpired this past Sunday or Monday. However, I'm seeing a different Dallas Cowboys offense, man. They're not with the bullshit. They're not with the fun and gun stuff. They want to pound the ball and run at your throat. Now, granted, the Jets have a perfect defensive line to match this type of style of play, but I do believe Dak Prescott would do enough when it's all said and done to win this game, because who are you picking to win this game? Dak Prescott or Zach Wilson? Let's be real.
I'm picking Zach Wilson to win this game. I'm picking Zach Wilson to win this game, man.
Give me Dak.
I'm not.
In the close one, give me Cowboys like 20-10 or 20-13.
Damn, so you got a lower scoring game. This is two great defenses going
because the Cowboys are going to make Zach Wilson's life a living hell this Sunday, man. He might throw like 3 picks.
They're going to make his life a living hell, man. But for some reason, man, I feel like just Dak Prescott's just not going to come through when it matters the most. Sheesh. And I'm not sitting here putting Zach Wilson on some kind of pedestal, but I like the Jets to go out there and get this win at Jerry World, man. Cowboy fans got all excited. And look, they very well could win this game. They probably should win this game, but I feel like that Jets defense is going to feast as well, too. We got a couple more matchups. We got Washington at Denver. Denver's got another home game. Probably can't drop the 0-2 in the AFC, man, if they want to make any kind of noise.
Give me Denver. I think they win this game. Give me Denver.
You like Denver. I like Washington to actually go out there and win this game. I like Sam Howell and company to go on the road, even versus a great Broncos defense. Go out there, and Terry McLaurin's, like I said, going to be a little bit better, a little bit healthier. I like the Commanders to go out there and get this win. Miami at New England, AFC East showdown.
Give me Miami. For some odd reason, man, especially post-Brady, the Dolphins just own Bill Belichick, and I think it happens again this Sunday. Give me the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, we're both on the same page here, too. I could have very well picked New England. If it was a little bit later in the season and it was a lot colder, like in December, maybe I'd be leaning a lot more, Mac Jones, playing defense, handing off to Ramondre Stevenson. But Miami's going to go up to New England, man. They're feeling confident. They're feeling good about themselves, as they should. I like them to go out there and get this week 2 win. New Orleans at Carolina, one of 2 Monday Night Football games.
Give me New Orleans. New Orleans facing off a Bryce Young team, rookie quarterback, Frank Reich. Offense looks pretty pathetic right now. Give me New Orleans. Derek Carr lights it up again.
Yeah, I like Derek Carr to go out there and have a big game versus the Carolina Panthers and the company, man. I want Bryce Young. I want him to go out there and get his first primetime game to be a first primetime win of his season and his career. I like Bryce Young a lot. I think he's a great kid. Like I said, I really want to see DJ Chark back out there, get him another weapon out there on the field that can be reliable for him. But Carolina's just not there right now to compete with New Orleans, who's clearly head and shoulders a better team in the division. I like the Saints to win that game. And then the last game of the week 2 slate, another game on Monday Night Football. This one's going to be on ABC. The Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is going to be a good game.
Ooh, boy. I talked about this in my post-game discussion about the Steelers and the Niners, man. I said wash away week 1, move forward to week 2 with the big-time divisional battle. Give me Pittsburgh. I'm trusting them again this week. I don't know why, but I am. I think Pittsburgh gets the job done at home. Offensively, Matt Canada, wake the hell up. You're sleeping at the wheel right now. Wake up. I think this Pittsburgh defense shows out and performs really well against this Browns defense, Browns offense. And I like Kenny Pickett to win this game in a close one for probably a game-winning field goal drive or something like that, man. Give me the Steelers in a close one.
Yeah, I need to see more from Kenny Pickett, like I said, after that poor week 1 performance. But to me, said it once, I'll say it again, this is the best defense in all of football, the Cleveland Browns. I believe that they are. They're going to prove it yet again, too, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Pittsburgh's got their weapons, Freiermuth, Najee, Deontay Pickens. I mean, they've got weapons, but and also who's the small receiver? Calvin Austin as well too, right?
Yeah,
They've got
Austin,
playmakers, but I like Cleveland to go out there. Deshaun Watson's going to have a better performance. Primetime game, he's going to go in a hostile environment in Pittsburgh, man, in the Steel City. I like Cleveland to go out there and get that win too, though. So we got through week 2, man. Let's see how these predictions hold up, man. Hope for another great week of football. Hopefully everyone can stay injury free. Jaguars are going to come into next week, man. We're going to come into this podcast victory Tuesday, victory Monday, whatever it is, man. Jags will be 2-0. What a hell of a weekend this is going to be, I think, for football, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Big time games on the horizon. Week 2 got 2 prime time Monday Night Football games. Have a Sunday night game, a good one. Who's the Sunday night game again?
Sunday night's going to be Miami at New England.
That's going to be a great game. Then you're going to have Thursday night football whenever this pod probably drops. Vikings and Eagles. So great week of football, man. I'm excited. Week 2 is definitely going to be a good one for sure.
Absolutely, man. But hey, we're going to kind of wrap this thing up, man. Like I said, looking forward to a great weekend of football, man. I'm super excited to see what everything gets cooked up this week, man. And hopefully, like I said, these players, man, these athletes, hopefully everyone can stay healthy and upright, man. You never want to see anyone go down, especially when it's with a season-ending injury. We know this game is inherently violent, and, you know, injuries are going to happen. Players are going to get banged up, man. But you never want to see someone go down seriously like that, especially when you have a top talented superstar with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, most notably. Guys like J.K. Dobbins, you don't want to see these guys get hurt, man. So let's hope for a good week of football, man. Everyone stays upright and healthy. But we'll catch you guys again next week. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 5 of the Don't Overthink It podcast. And like always, don't overthink it.